interested in a topic a couple of weeks ago and started to just look around and see what was going on, and felt like there was a big need for this information to be shared with people in general. Homelessness is a big problem throughout the United States, and it is just as serious here in Lafayette. So for today's show, I have a very special guest that I am quite excited and pleased that he agreed to come on, which is Mike Rogers, who is the lodge manager with the Salvation Army. Welcome, Mike.
How do you do?
And thanks for coming on the show.
It's my pleasure.
And I'm really excited about you being here. So the first thing we want to talk about, for you to talk about, is to tell us some of the statistics about homelessness here in Lafayette. What's going on with that?
Well, we usually see about 30 guys a night. We are a nighttime emergency shelter, so we provide a first come, first serve situation where men who are homeless here in Lafayette can come in and get a bed, they can get something to eat, they can do clothes, they can wash clothes. And then at 6 in the morning, everybody is out, hopefully looking for work and trying to better their situation. I would say on average here in the summertime, I'm running about anywhere from 20 to 27 people a night. Now, we also feed the general public, anybody that would feel the need that they want to come in and share a meal with us. We feed from 4 to 5, 7 days a week. And I'm feeding about 100 people a day. Somewhere between 92 and 100 is an average. We do that 7 days a week.
What, 7 days a week?
7 days a week.
Wow. That's pretty cool.
It's like cooking dinner and you don't know who's coming.
Yeah. You don't know who the guests are going to be.
No, but you can't run out.
Yeah. So what are... You work with the Salvation Army.
Yes.
You've been with them for
4 years.
4 years.
Mm-hmm.
What are the services available to people that the Salvation Army provides?
Well, the services that we provide to homeless men, we are a nighttime homeless shelter for men. So we can provide them a bed, a place to stay for the night, facilities to do laundry, so on and so forth.
And you have 30 beds.
I would say not 30 beds. I'd say about 28, 29, because that varies depending on who's in our Back to Work program. Now, as far as the general public, we have our thrift store where they can get bargains on things that people donate to us. That's how we generate funding to operate the shelter, to purchase the food, so on and so forth. During the year, we have a uniform drive, school uniforms. We're just about to wrap that up. As a matter of fact, this coming Monday, people who have come in and filled out applications several months ago, we've actually gotten the uniforms in 2 days ago, and they should have received mailers in the mail telling them when to come and pick those up.
Now that's a service I had no idea that the
Yes.
Salvation Army provided.
Yes, we
So if somebody wants to do that for the school year next year, what would they need to do?
Well, usually we make every effort to try to utilize television, radios, things like that to get the word out as to when do you come in to fill out the application. There is an application process. You have to bring, certain bits of information in, such as what your expenses are, what your income is, so on and so forth, the sizes of your children's uniforms. Obviously, we want to make sure that they're as accurate as possible. And when that time rolls around next year, it can fluctuate. Sometimes it's in the latter part of June, sometimes it's in July.
Okay.
Once that transpires, we try to get the word out, and you come in, fill out an application, and shortly before school begins, we send out a mailer and come in and pick them up.
Is there a limit on how many people can get the service? Or
We don't try to put a limit on it, although I don't usually handle that end of it. I handle the men's shelter. I don't want to misspeak. I want to say it's really only for Lafayette Parish. I know that many other
Okay.
people in other parishes may be watching us, so I don't want to give out bad information. Yeah, to my knowledge, it's just here in the city of Lafayette, but no, we don't put a limit on it.
Okay.
We'll find a way to pay for it.
Okay. That is so neat. I mean, it's just something I'd never heard of before.
Mhm.
So you have the thrift store,
Right.
and you have the school uniforms.
Right, and we have the Angel Tree Program at Christmas. Everybody associates the Salvation Army with the bell ringers they see at Christmas time.
Right.
And those monies allow us to be able to buy Christmas toys, to run the program, and keep the shelter open. You know, you think about electricity and food and insurance and this and that. It takes quite a bit, because I was running the numbers the other day, but we roughly feed around 700 people a week.
Right.
And
Okay.
that's 4 weeks in a month, 12 months in a year, and it adds up. It's quite expensive.
And it was interesting that you said you buy your food,
Yes.
because I know that some of the kitchens, a lot of the food is donated.
We do get some donations from entities here in the city. Mostly, it's a lot of baked goods, a lot of sweets.
Perishables.
It's things that you can't really, it's sort of like desserts is
Mhm.
the most of the things that we have that are donated to us. But I'd say by and large, 98% of the food I buy. You know,
Wow.
we
Okay.
purchase it ourselves.
Are you able to buy it wholesale? Or
I
do
don't
you
mind
have to
saying,
buy it retail?
I go through Sam's.
Sam's?
Yeah.
So that's not wholesale.
Well, it's a little bit of a
That's-
break.
It is, but
Yeah.
it's still not wholesale.
wholesale, no.
It's retail.
Right.
Wow. And
It-
see, I know the difference.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I did a show with Sudi about the laws and everything about making homemade goods
Mhm.
and selling.
Mhm.
So I understand all about the difference between the retail and the wholesale.
Right.
Wow. Okay. So for a lot of people who think, the Salvation Army is misusing their funds or whatever, this really gives a clue as to what's going on with that.
You have to be pretty creative to make it stretch, because once again, you really never know. You have a guideline based on what you've done in the months past, but you really never know who's going to show up every day.
Yeah,
But you don't want to turn anybody away.
right. And you want enough, but you don't want over
Right. Well,
for waste.
we're pretty good at what we do. We manage to pull it off every day.
That is so neat. So you have your the thrift store and the Christmas tree, and you
Mhm.
feed the homeless,
Right.
and you have the shelter. If somebody wants to donate something to the Salvation Army, what would they do?
Well, that's very, very important to us. You know, there's a lot of people in town that have a lot of things in their garage, a lot of things in their attic, so on and so forth. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we're probably the only ones left that still operate vehicles that will actually come to your home and pick things up.
That is neat.
So all they would have to do is call our main number, and we operate between 8 a.m. and 4:30 every day. The number's 235-2407.
Can we get the number up on the screen for the Salvation Army so that they can see that?
And just
Cool.
arrange a pickup. The only thing that we don't take, we obviously would like everything to be in usable condition, because we do resell this to raise funds to pay for food, so on and so forth.
Right.
It's mattresses and box springs we don't accept, but
Okay.
furniture, clothing, refrigerators, televisions, so on and so forth.
That is so neat. That is so neat. Thank you for coming.
Well, you're welcome. Thank you for
I-
asking me.
I-
It
I
gives me
am-
an opportunity to maybe let people in town know what the Salvation Army does. It does provide a service, because there's a lot of people that have unwanted goods around their home, and
Right.
the phone rings constantly for that. Our thrift store is sort of operated as a separate entity. And then the men's homeless shelter, there's only really 2 men's homeless shelters in
In
Lafayette,
Lafayette.
St. Joseph's Men's Shelter and ourselves.
Right.
So we're sort of partners. We go to the same meetings. We know each other and work very closely. And hopefully we make it possible so that no one has to spend the night on the street.
Right. I know you have to go.
Mm.
I know you
Duty
have
calls.
to get back to your duties. And so we're going to let you slip out.
I thank you so
And,
much for having me.
Thank you so much. Maybe we can do this again and talk about some other stuff. And
I'd be honored.
that would be wonderful.
Thanks for having
That
me.
would be wonderful. That was Mike Rogers from the Salvation Army, who is the lodge manager with the Salvation Army. We have another guest who has been very patiently sitting here next to me, waiting for Mike to get done because Mike had to leave. This is Floyd Charles III, who is originally from Opelousas, but has found himself here in Lafayette. He has been homeless since 2005, and he agreed to come on and talk to us about what it's like to be out there, what it's like to be homeless. So, thank you. I'm going to turn toward you a little bit now,
Yes, ma'am.
so that I can see you. Thank you for coming.
Appreciate you for having me on the show.
I'm so excited you agreed to come on.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the things that I got from being out there and talking to you guys is that you're a very intelligent group of people out there.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, well, you guys are. I mean, I didn't. Everybody was very articulate and well able to express.
They have heads on their shoulders. Mm.
Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
how they feel and everything. So, I'm grateful that you came on.
Thank you very much.
So tell us what it's like out there. What is it like to be homeless?
Well, it's a lot of worries for the most part. If you have nothing to do for the day, if you have nowhere to go, it's a battle of a constant struggle to wonder what's the next step. Okay, during the summer it's hot.
Right,
During the winter it's cold.
right.
So it's really no balance in between those times. For me, since 2005, I've actually been on the streets here and there. Okay, and I do try to get around for the day to be productive, also doing job applications and things like that. But it is no winning battle to be homeless. It's a constant worry, and it's something that we would like to try to get help with, if there's possible, with government funding, some programs. Also, like Mr. Mike Rogers was saying, sometimes there's so many people that try to get into the Salvation Army that they have to stop at their numbers, because fire marshal regulations, you only can have so many amount of people in the building.
Right.
At St. Joseph's Men's Shelter, at 7:30 a.m. every morning, you have to have a state ID or a driver's license to try to get in at the shelter. And there's only X amount of beds for the normal populations, and then there's veteran populations to try to get in, okay?
There's what other?
Veterans
Veteran.
populations
Okay.
to try to get in. There's one side of the building that's made for veterans, and then the rest of the buildings, if you're a regular population, you can try to get in with the bunk. But
See, I didn't know that.
yes, ma'am. But there's not always all the time you can actually get in. So at 7:30 a.m., if you show up to St. Joseph's Diner, and with the ID, you can try to post in with your name, and you can try to get in for the day. And if they have an availability on the bunk, it's a first come, first served type basis. You can get in, and then you have to do your regular normal health paperwork and stuff like that to get in.
And obviously there's more homeless
Yes,
than there are beds available
Yes,
between
ma'am.
the two
definitely.
shelters.
Yes, ma'am.
So if you don't get there,
You have to find out, you have to get into a spot for the day where you're going to be sleeping at for the night. Find somewhere else type of shelter, and then hopefully for the next day you can try to redo it all over again.
Okay, so if you can't get into the shelter,
What do
where
you do?
do you sleep?
Well, right now we actually by city ordinance we can actually stay where the St. Joseph's Diner is at the Chenier building. We can actually sleep on the sidewalk right there. If not, there's other places where people find spots to go to, and hopefully there's no trouble with the laws about that. But sometimes there is trouble because you have to make sure you're not on somebody else's property, and you have to make sure you are in a safe area, in a safe zone for that.
You're saying being safe. Does
Meaning-
that apply
Well,
to you as a man?
well, I try to be safe every day. What I mean by safe is private properties, things like that. You don't want to be somewhere where you trespassing, because if you are, then you have to worry about the boundaries of the laws. And then some people sometimes might want to try to do that just so they can go to jail, so they can have a 3 hots in the cot. Yes, ma'am.
I've heard that phrase.
Yes, ma'am.
I have heard that phrase.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So you say there's a lot of worries. What is that like? I mean, because
First-hand experience.
one person talked about how he didn't have any worries because he didn't have a home, he didn't have a car, he didn't have to worry about paying the bills because he didn't
Probably
have
so.
any bills. So for him, he talked about he didn't have any worries.
Okay.
So what do you mean by worries?
Me, I'm talking about to stay clean, to have a shower, and a place to wash your clothes. Definitely, because you cannot just, go here and there every day. You have to make sure, your personal hygienes are up. Or at least, definitely, I worry about my personal hygienes.
Okay.
And what I do about that, I go to the Stella Morris, which is right next to St. Joseph's Diner.
Okay.
And there's a place where we can take showers, we can wash clothes, and we can maintain our personal hygienes.
So you do have that service available?
Yes, ma'am, definitely.
Okay. You said that you put in job applications.
Yes, ma'am.
How do you do that?
I have about 15 job applications pending right now, either through internet service, through the library internet service, or you can actually go to the business itself and see if they have an in-store application.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. I have
So-
applications pending right now for me. I'm
So
just
you
waiting for a
actually
call
go to
back.
the library and
Yes.
get on the internet
Yes, ma'am.
and fill out applications?
Yes, ma'am.
So the whole idea that the homeless people who are out there, that it's a false belief
Hmm.
that you guys are lazy and don't want to improve yourselves and don't want to work.
I want to improve myself. I would like to work. I try not to be lazy. For the majority of some of them, I see them trying to do for themselves. And I think that's a good sign, and that's a plus sign for them. I really haven't met one of them that's in Lafayette, Louisiana yet that doesn't want to do for themselves.
But how difficult is that? I mean, now when we talked earlier, you said that after Katrina, it was Katrina that caused you to lose your job,
And be on
lose
the
your
streets
home,
more
and ended
often.
up on the street.
Yes, ma'am.
So you haven't really worked regularly since
2005.
2005.
Yes, ma'am.
So you're filling out applications to try to get a job,
Yes, ma'am.
but you haven't worked regularly
Understood.
since 2005. How likely is it somebody's going to hire you with no work history or consistent work history?
Well, whenever I bring forth myself to the manager or the general manager of the business, I try to sell myself to them like that. I try to let them know that I'm here to be your worker, and I try to give 100% of my efforts to them so they can, hey, well, that might be a nice person that I might want them to work, so on and so forth. But you can never tell what the general manager or the manager is doing for the business, and you can never know what kind of situation that they're going through or what type of work that they're looking for. So it's a 50-50 situation out there.
So it's pretty difficult.
A little bit, yes, ma'am. It's no jokes.
So once you're out there,
Mhm.
it's very difficult to get back.
To get back in, yes, ma'am. It
It's
is.
very difficult to get back. How does that feel? I mean, what emotions do you deal with?
My
Every
emotions are,
day.
hello, how are you doing every day? Because I love to enjoy life every day, ma'am. I wouldn't want nothing any way else. And that's my type of attitude that I have towards life. I come out here to meet you and see how you're doing for the day. Hello, how are you doing? Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is there anything that you really think people need to know about the homeless population? That they
Go ahead.
that they need to hear to touch their hearts?
Most of us do try. We do try. And it's not a situation that we probably placed ourselves in. It's probably something that happened throughout time that we got placed in the situation. And it's not an easy task at all.
Thank you.
No problem. Want a hug?
Thank you. We are just about.
I appreciate you.
I really appreciate you coming, Floyd, because it makes it so real.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, I mean, we can sit back in our comfortable homes, in our kick-back chairs, and in our air conditioning,
Understood.
watching TV, you know, and we really don't think about those who are out there and the
Understood.
reasons why they're out there. You know, I mean, you made a really important point in that most of you are not out there by choice.
Understood.
You know, and that you didn't end up out there by
Yes, ma'am.
choice. And you don't want to stay out there.
Understood. I am trying my hardest right now.
So, I mean, I think that's really important
Yes, ma'am.
for people to know, to help touch hearts and that. Thank you for watching. I hope that your heart was touched as much as mine was. This has been a tremendous show, and I thank everybody for watching, and I thank these guys for coming. I do want to thank my underwriter, who is Great Harvest Bread Company. Thank you guys for supporting this show and this program. And if you want some really good homemade treats and breads and stuff, go visit with them and Mr. JP and his beautiful wife. So have a good night. See you next time.
Thank y'all for watching.